Euros is a proudly Western Australian firm focused on building long-term wealth for local businesses and families. Euros aim to provide clients with leading wealth creation solutions that encompasses proactive investment advice, financial planning and portfolio administration. Euros Securities Executive Director and passionate Freo fan Lucas Robinson will help you kick more investment goals than you can poke a stick at and is the man you must speak to ASAP. So if you feel like your investments require restump, rewire, replumb, give Lucas a call on 0894881424 or email on lrobinson@euros.com, that's EUROZ.com, for a free financial health check. Because you should always let the cobblers do the cobbling, and as a cobbler, Lucas makes a damn fine investment advisor.
Hello and welcome to episode 29, season 4 of the Purple Rain with Duck and Oz.
Oh, baby.
It's a draft special, guys. It's currently 4:52 Western Standard Time, Australian Western Standard Time. The draft's currently going on. They're on to pick 35. The Dockers haven't done anything since picking 7, 8 and 9.
We got picks 69, 71, 430 to go.
127.
Yeah.
Mate, couple of picks. Did you see? I was just side note before. I know we're side noting before we've even started, but
hello, everyone.
Did you see that that you have to make 3 picks in the draft now?
Yes,
you have to make 3 picks. Quite interesting because I was talking to my girlfriend's stepfather, Kez. Shout out to you, K-Train, mate. Cooked some mean barbecue. And I was saying to him, mate, do you know that there has to be, once upon a time, they must have changed this now, there had to be 2 list changes no matter what. Like, you had to make 2 list changes, so as an AFL list, which is a weird thing, but it must be at least 3 now because you've got to get 3 draft picks. So if you're picking up 3 players, it means you've got to get rid of 3 players. So
well, I guess at the end of the day, those 3 players that are being picked, there is some hope for those 3 players to make AFL lists, I guess, long term, but
who knows?
You know.
Out with the old, in with the new.
Yeah.
And speaking of ins and outs, Oz,
here we go.
Okay, so, guys, we just thought we'd quickly run through the ins and outs because we didn't do a post-trade special, did we, Oz? Because we were, I don't know, we're busy.
Lazy.
Lazy. Yeah. Busy. It's been busy.
It's been
busy.
busy. Yeah, I've had a few pineapples up the old...
Yeah.
Yep, we're good.
Backside? Sideways?
We're good.
Which end? Pointy end first?
I've got about 5 pineapples at the moment, mate.
Jeez.
Brewing on a 6.
Not talking about $50 notes, mate.
Yo.
Pineapples in the old wallet, boy. All right, so ins. Aish, Akers, Young, Sarong and Henry.
I believe this will be the next episode, Duck, of the club. So keep talking.
The outs, Ballas, Bennell, Bradley, Jones, Kirsten, Langdon, Nyhouse and Sandy. Out of those outsides, the one I was really surprised with was Big Scotty Jones. I thought he, as a big lumbering ruckman, he did his job. He was solid. I mean, he was like, in the end, we weren't going to, well, I thought we might have been looking at Jackson, I guess might have been the idea there, but I guess we've got Lob, we've got Hodor, and we've got Meek. So we've got those 3. And Meek in particular, Meek and Jones was kind of in between those 2. And I thought, Jones had been solid. I know Meek had played that one really good game of waffle that they were excited about. But I guess they'd say maybe Huge Dicks and Tabs will be kind of ruckman, like...
Yeah, if he gets rookie listed, which we assume he will be.
Yeah. I mean, Huge Dicks and Tom North have also been delisted with the intent that they will be rookie listed, which seems like a weird thing, but I guess it's
assuming
just kind
they
of like
don't get picked up by other clubs?
Yeah, I don't think they will, mate. I don't
just,
think.
I'm just
people, it's pretty funny. I've talked to some Dockers fans about Huge Dicks. People are so pumped about him. In that last game, I didn't think he really did
I saw
much.
enough, Duck.
You saw enough?
I saw enough, but...
Yeah, I didn't see much, mate. But let's get into these guys we picked, Oz. Starting with Young at pick 7.
Oh, boy.
And to hear... mate, watching... So I was watching the Fox footy on the... It's quite interesting. I had Fox footy on KO streaming through the TV.
Yes.
And I had the AFL footy guys, the AFL Draft Hub just on my phone as I was watching that as well.
2 side notes here, Duck.
Yeah.
Firstly, presentation night last night.
Yeah.
Don't let it get in the way of a good trade period.
Oh.
Thank you, phone, on the way in. And secondly, Neroli Meadows. Did I pronounce that correctly?
Narrowly Meadows.
Narrowly Meadows. I apologise. We need a back because I'm sorry. It's just... Anyway, go.
Mate, Elijah Taylor's just been picked up by Sydney, which is another...
Boy.
He could have been a good Dockers player. Anyway, so I'm watching both. David King.
Yeah.
And we've had a tin with David King. We've
We
had a couple of beers with David King. We watched the Ashes with David King.
Good bloke.
Very foul mouth. Like, I know he's on footy
Mate,
on
he's
TV.
not going to swear on TV, though, is he?
But, like, he was just dropping some bombs, mate. F this and F that. And mind you,
fair to say, it
being
was
a school teacher, mate,
Yep.
it's fair to say outside of teaching, my language, my profanities. And anyone listened to the last episode about the Brown line, how much I care about that. But David King was loving the Dockers and loving our pickups. Young in particular, really love that pick. Great kick, 188 centimetres, 82 kegs. Long blonde hair, Oz. Very long, straight blonde hair.
Question.
Yes.
Did you see Stephen Gyro in the room at the time?
Oh. Yes, Stephen Gyro. Look-alike.
I think they've gone with the double
double
entente or whatever they call it.
The gyro.
Switch one for the other.
Oh, mate.
Don't you reckon?
Yeah, probably Gyro's probably still got 4 more years left on his deal or something.
Now, before you go any further with Young, first of all, very happy that he slid where he has to us, and an absolute steal. If you haven't seen the highlights, which are everywhere, including Big Footy, I think Big Footy, shout out Bosty, how you going, showed me the highlights because he wanted to show me this one kick where he tackles, I think it's Henry in the carnival, I can't remember. Anyway, he tackles a West Australian player, gets the holding the ball challenge, gets the holding the ball call, picks up the footy in one motion, lace out left foot kick through the corridor, in stride, turns into a goal. And that kick would have been probably 45 to 48 metres.
Yeah.
It was just, mate, the arousal curve, and this is we were now 7 minutes 20 in.
Yeah.
The arousal curve was busted when I saw that. Do yourself a favour, peeps. Look at the highlights and have a look at that kick. Left footer, can kick on the right. Duck, please go.
Is it left and right? I saw him kick on the right foot.
Mate, he's a left footer.
I thought he's a right footer because I was
on the right.
I was going to compare him to a blonde Heath Black.
Oh.
But then I was like, he doesn't have the left foot hammer. But I thought he was... Maybe I got my lefts and rights. It doesn't matter what foot he is. He can kick it, all right?
Yeah.
He's dead set. Great kick. Now, on ESPN, they said maybe he will be the guy who kicks it in for the Dockers. Callum Toomey, and we're going to talk about him in the listener's question, said he'd fit into our D50. But, mate, how good is it to get someone with some good foot skills coming out of the old D50? One. Clinical. And now we don't have to put another midfielder back there as well, too.
Yeah, well, Ryan's a good kick.
Yeah, Ryan is a good kick.
Yeah.
But he's a better kick than Ryan.
I think.
And he's also a pretty good intercept mark as well.
Who was, by the way, someone said that, I think this might be a question, but actually I heard someone actually say that he could be our best.
Yeah, Toomey said that.
Come on, Toomey.
Toomey said he could be our best. Yeah, in one of the questions.
Turn up, mate. He's 18. Come on.
What about this, mate? He's a younger brother. So his older brother plays for Western Bulldogs. And my new working theory on AFL players in particular,
here we go,
benefit from having an older brother.
Okay.
I need to do some deep dive researching into it. I'd love to get some metadata. I'd love the AFLPA maybe if they're listening.
Well, let's hope for the Brayshaw's sake that's the case.
Have a look at the guys who have older brothers.
Crackers?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. You just pulled that one out. I don't know.
Sorry.
Like, I'm just thinking like Joel Selwood being the best Selwood. He had 2 older brothers.
Yep.
Troy Selwood was also good. He had an older brother. Justin Longmuir's older brother.
Yeah.
Troy Longmuir.
Yeah.
Matera. Wally Matera. The older brother.
Yep.
Blakely. He's got older brother Nath.
Yep.
These guys, because they're younger, sometimes they play up when teams are short. Sometimes they, have a little bit of an edge. They kick around the footy with the older boys.
I like this duck theory.
I think in particular it works in the country. Longmuir country boy, Matera country boy, Selwood, are they country guys? They don't strike me as country. Maybe.
I'd say they're
tough.
Yeah, country Victoria.
And Young, obviously, being another country Victorian. Pick 8, Oz. A young man by the name of Sarong.
Yeah.
The wraparound light towel.
There was a bit of
that
banter.
the ladies wear in Bali.
There was a bit of banter going on about that.
Yeah.
And whether or not you do wear undergarments
With a sarong.
with a sarong.
Do you remember David Beckham wearing the sarong?
Circa
about 2005, I reckon.
Look, you probably did.
As a bit of a fashion item.
Probably did.
Mate, goal kicking small mid forward, 178 centimetres and 83 kegs. Big kick, apparently. Contested ball winner as well, which is
he's
good.
a bull.
Vic Country's MVP for their tournament. Size is potentially an issue I put down, but is it as well? You know, small players, if they win the ball, they're good. You look at Lachie Neale, Tom Mitchell, even, what's his bloody name? Sam Mitchell.
Yep.
Yeah. All those guys who are smaller guys who win the ball.
Yeah.
Caleb Daniels. If they're ball winners, they're ball winners. You know, it doesn't matter. And, you know, my big thing, Oz, with him at pick 8, it's an interesting one, isn't it? I know that this argument on our Dockers chat, and I know it does come up, and we'll talk about it a bit later in terms of home players and whether or not, if you're going to pick a inside mid / small forward,
Yes.
or a guy who's supposed to be a contested ball winner, was Dylan Robertson not a better pick, despite going at pick 22 today? Despite going at pick 22 and everyone overlooking him, essentially, every team had a crack except for, I don't think North Melbourne had a pick yet. The go-home factor.
Well, I don't want to jump the gun here, but I think what Fremantle have done is try and kill two birds with the one stone. A, get an inside brute. Now, just on Sarong, hopefully I pronounced that correctly.
Yeah, I think it's so wrong.
Bit of a tag here. Is he the next Paul Hazelby?
Next, Paul Hazelby. Oh, strong overhead.
Yep.
Oh, I love this player comparison. Paul Hazelby.
Yeah.
So we've got the new Heath Black and the new Paul Hazelby.
Have a look at the highlights, and there's a lot of Paul Hazelby about this,
Ooh.
minus the helmet. But there's a lot of...
coming out of the shorts.
Oh,
Back page
boy.
of the West. Mate, my big thing that I've put down, my question is, so right or so wrong?
Well, sorry,
At pick
now,
8.
the second part of that, Duck.
What do we
Sorry,
think?
didn't answer that. Because he's really good mates with Young,
Yeah.
there's a potential to retain those two after the homesick factor comes in, in 3-4
We'll talk
years?
about this in the second segment with the question, but I've got a hot take.
I reckon
Hot take.
these blokes here, they're country boys. Let's start with that.
Yeah.
I reckon
It's a
that's
good point.
That's in our
Country
favour.
Victorians.
Yep.
on Monday.
Not city Victorians.
Not city slickers. You know how I feel about
Yeah,
city
mate.
slickers, mate?
And I reckon Justin Longmuir's going, hey,
Yeah.
farmer to farmer.
Farmer to farmer. That's it. Hey, at pick 9, some shenanigans.
Oh, boy.
Now, Carlton have pick 9. They, by the sounds of things, they were like scrambling, trying to move back from pick 9. They wanted to buy some time. They're talking around shopping picks. So they're just like, well, best way to buy time is just bid on players.
Yeah.
They bid on Henry. We match. Now, in order for us to match, we have to trade a future second rounder. We had 2 second rounders for next year in the Langdon deal and the Hill deal. And our second rounder, we got rid of one to move up to pick 8 in order so no one bid on Henry, so we didn't have to give up pick 10, I think it was. So we moved up. Then pick 9, we give up a second round and match the pick so we don't give up points for next year. It's all complicated. Essentially, he's cost us a second rounder.
Yeah.
A number 9 pick for a second rounder. Now, was Henry likely to go if there is no bidding system?
I think he does.
Does he go in the top 10? I don't think he
No,
does.
not in the top 10, but
I think he goes in the top 20.
Yes, maybe 14, 15.
Yeah, potentially. I think he would have gone before this, what's his name?
Is it Tom
Christian Pickett?
Oh,
Was it?
okay.
Christine?
Yes.
What was that guy's name?
I don't know. But can I ask this question?
Yeah.
Why did no one bid on Green? Why is Gold Coast, not Gold Coast, why is GWS?
Yeah.
Why are they getting away with this scot-free? Why would someone not go, you know what, let's mess with this?
Well, Sydney are the ones who should have done it. I mean, they're the crosstown rivals. Like, bid on Green.
Bid on, and that costs a lot.
Yeah. Then they have to match.
And now
But
they've just got a free ride.
No, I think there was also the thought that GWS might have just gone, we've got 7 inside mid, because he's an inside mid. And they have heaps of inside mids, and they drafted a lot of inside mids. So
But
they
he's
might go,
ranked
oh, well.
so highly.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he was ranked at pick 3 at some stage.
Yeah.
It's just like, whoa, this guy. But I don't know with the NEFL and the allies and stuff like that. Like,
You reckon the competition's not as strong?
no, it isn't.
You know my theory on South Australia, the kids look really good at the start of the 18s carnival because they've already got that
They get picked in January, don't they?
Yeah, and then by the time we get through to the actual draft, have the others caught up to that.
But I also think there's a bias towards the Victorian players. Like, they
Oh,
think that
absolutely.
they're just the best.
Yeah.
Anyway, so look, Henry, 179 centimetres, only 69 kilos, very light, very elusive. Now, my advice to Webber down there at the Dockers, Lord Webber, I'd say, Webbsy, mate, don't put too much bulk on this guy.
Yes.
Get him down the Bradley Hill track, not the Stephen Hill track. Okay? And let's keep him light and fast because, keep him skinny, keep him elusive, keep him quick.
Well, question is he going to be an inside mid?
No,
Then
he's
why
not.
do we need
exactly.
to?
Yeah.
And I think one of his best traits is his elusive capabilities
Yeah.
and the fact that he can actually hit someone lace out on
Good
a
foot
dime.
skills.
Great
Mate,
foot skills.
obviously...
And he makes ties too. Let's shout out to the business.
Yeah.
What's it called?
They didn't mention it a million times. Tied by culture?
Tie by culture?
Yeah, tied to culture?
Yeah, something like
Something
that.
like that. They didn't mention that a million times.
You're-
They've got nothing else to say to
You're
him.
very
like,
cushy up to the Dockers. They might hook us up.
yeah, maybe. We could just buy some, mate, because it goes to charity.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. Obviously dislocated his knee this year as
Yeah.
well, which wasn't mentioned ever. No one mentioned how he dislocated his knee and he was out for the back end of the season.
Now, you would have more insight than anyone else here because you know the coach down at Colts, or is it down at Christchurch? Okay, so what's the inside scoop?
I think he just hurt his knee, and that's it. Dislocated his knee. I mean, he didn't actually set the world on fire in the PSA this year. Like, he didn't have any massive games where I think he had one game where he kicked like 7 points, and one game where he kicked like 2 goals 5 or something like that.
Heavily tagged?
No, not heavily tagged. Just couldn't kick straight. Bent boots. But look, he had an outstanding under-18s carnival and was best on ground in the decider. So look, mate, big
That
rats
excites
there.
me when there's big games and he's up and about.
Yeah,
for
and
big
look,
games.
in the end, he didn't cost much.
Yeah.
That's the main thing. It's kind of a free hit. Dockers were always going to match the bid. I don't think we'll see him play much this year. I think, 2020, maybe 2021. I just, I think he'll be a good. I think that goes for all three of the guys. I think that if you have a look at our best 22, it might be the idea of the same as Sturt and Valenti last year.
I really would
who
like
haven't
the
had a
idea.
game.
I want to see Sturt, but we'll go into that later.
Yeah. So in the end, guys, in this year's draft, we had picks 7, 8, and 9. Our first team since GWS came into the comp to get 3 picks in a row in the first round.
Oh, hello.
We've got the fifth pick 67, 82, 86, and 88. Like we said before, we're pretty sure we have to use 2 of those, maybe, if not 3. 3 of those picks to fill up our list. Look, next year we've got our first rounder, Melbourne's second rounder, and we don't have a third or a fourth, so we've just got some late picks, but we'll probably, someone will want to leave or something. I don't know what's going to happen. But
Surely
you never
you'd
know.
go with those last 3 picks. You may as well use them on West Australian players.
Well, you don't know. Maybe some mature guys, who knows?
Well, by the time you get to that point, you're punting anyway, so
Yeah.
you may as well punt on Western Australians.
Well, I would have a punt on some mature age guys.
But that's what I mean.
Yeah, but I mean, not even West. If they're mature age, they're mature age. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay, you're thinking.
Yeah,
okay.
mate. 2 other guys coming to the side. Aish, 24-year-old, turned 24 on the 8th, so only a while ago, 8th of November. 183-centimetre defender, played 14 games last year for Collingwood. He got 24 disposals versus West Coast at Optus Oval, season high. Pick 7 in the draft in 2013, so interesting. And Akers as well, who was picked 19 in that draft, 24 as well, 190 centimetres, but apparently he's about 193. Bit taller.
Oh, boy.
92 kegs, big boy. 19 games, including game high 26 disposals versus the Hawks. Look, he might be another inside midfielder. He could fill a gap. You never know what Akers. Aish definitely on the outside will help as a wingman / running half back.
Knows the plan.
Yeah, knows the game plan, knows. So those 2 guys are handy pickups and should fit into our best 22. And look, it's going to be interesting out of those 5 guys who've come into the side. All right, Oz, let's go to a break. When we come back, we'll go to listeners' questions.
Ah, come on, Duck. Have you ever had problems with computers, mate? Look.
Every day of my life, mate, is a problem with the computer.
Well, you know what, mate? I've got a solution for you, buddy. Just Make It Work will take care of all your IT problems and help you use technology to reach more people, make more money and waste less time. You can relax knowing you're in the hands of real Dockers supporters. Get on to jmiw.it, call or email and mention the Purple Rain for 20% off your first project with Just Make It Work, Duck. I suggest you get around it.
Welcome back to episode 29, season 4 of the Purple Rain.
Purple Rain.
It's a draft special, guys.
It's a draft special.
Let's get into some questions, shall we, Oz, from the listeners.
Is it the first one about enchiladas?
You would have wanted to hope so, mate. Tell you what, we just had an extended break because I ate some bad enchiladas at lunchtime. Baby! All right. Question number 1 is from Liam Carter. Cal Toomey said, Young is better than any of our current defenders. Thoughts, Oz?
Egregious. He's 18.
Yeah.
Yeah, first of all, give the guy a chance to develop.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's not put too much pressure on him. Secondly, how would you feel being the Fremantle Dockers and being a defender? I mean, does the guy have any idea?
Yeah. I mean, like, Luke Ryan was in All-Australian form last year.
Alex Pearce.
All-Australian form.
Wilson. Hamling.
Wilson. Yeah. I mean,
Luke Sebastian.
Logue. I put this as my comment. I think he's a sheltered Victorian, Callum Toomey.
Yeah, I think so.
A very sheltered
he always
Victorian.
bangs on about these Victorians, mate.
Oh.
And I know for a fact that clubs sell him information to try and pump up certain players to cover other players. I know that for a fact. Yeah. That's my 2-year-old screaming. She's 2, turning 13, as they say. A little bit of attitude, that one, baby. Luke Sebastian. Thoughts on the Port draft pick swap? Supposedly had something to do with Bell wanting to save our first rounder for next year due to points accrued from the Henry match.
Yeah, it's a weird one, isn't it? The point system's so weird, and we've got a question about that coming up. But look, I think we didn't have enough points, so we had to use the second round. We had to get some more points. In order to do that, we had 2 second rounders. We gave one up. Essentially, it's a second rounder for pick 9. I mean, it's not that.
Yeah.
Sounds like a pretty good deal to me, you know. We could have maybe got something back from Port. I don't know. Like, I think we were a bit surprised that it was so early.
The question I have is this: if we had have just gone straight with the pick from Melbourne and taken pick 6, rather than the posturing as such, would that have made a big difference?
I don't know. Maybe. I'm not sure. If we had pick 7? Do we have 7, 10, and 22? Yeah, I kind of feel like, but 7, 8, 9 is pretty good. Like, if you go 7, 10, and 22, and next year's second rounder, or 7, 8, 9. You know, like, if you think about it like that in terms of where the drafts were in there.
Look, I'm super happy with the 3.
Yeah,
I'm behind the arousal curve.
Like, it would have been nice if we gave him a third rounder or something. I don't think we had a third rounder. I honestly think...
No rounders.
All right, Pielo Cruzzi.
Calusi.
Can't think of any questions. Just posting so can hear Duck try and pronounce my name again. Pielo Cruzzi.
Yes. Piero Colusi.
Mate, I'm just terrible.
Probably not even
names.
close.
Mate, I hope we draft some guy with a real good name. We're chucking
boy.
an extra consonant of our like
Hyphen.
Brewery. Young. Well, I can't get Young right. I looked at Sarong and I was like, I heard him pronounce his name on the thing and they say Sarong like a ladies bather.
Yep.
Men
wear sarongs too.
Yeah, Bex. Asian Acres, easy to pronounce. I mean, it's good. There's no tricky ones yet.
Good point. Is it me?
Yeah.
Gustavo. I believe that was a fantastic draft night, and we absolutely picked up the 2 best available players at 7 and 8. That Hayden Young kick looks like it's from the future. Anyways, my question is, keep that toddler down out there. My question is, I still feel we're a bit short in the coaching department. I just feel we need one more experienced senior assistant. What are your thoughts on this?
Look, I keep going back to this idea of Chock Williams. Like, I can't shake it from my brain. I think Mark Williams, who's currently a senior coach at, I've forgotten what.
Werribee?
Yeah, Werribee, I think. You're right. Or Williamstown, one of the two.
One of the two.
His skill development seems awesome. Look, we've picked up Mark LeCras, which isn't a bad pickup.
Oh, boy.
They haven't updated the coaches, so not quite sure. I'm assuming if they got rid of any coaches, they would have notified it because training has started.
Live additions?
I think
is that what's going on?
Pryor and Still's in there. Eastor's still there.
Hale?
I think Carr and Hale. Well, Hale still had a year to go on his contract. The only guy we got rid of was Guerra. Is that correct?
I think so.
And we've brought in Carr. That's the changes. And like people may have shifted around, but it hasn't been updated yet on the Dockers Weber site, and I can't remember seeing anything either. But look, if there is room for one more coach, a senior assistant, Choco Williams. But would he move? I doubt it. Although his family's a bit older now. Like his kids aren't too young.
But don't you think that, from what I'm hearing, and I'm not sure if this is accurate, but the assistant coaches are now being given more license to take drills, take ownership of those drills. And there's now that feeling of ownership of what they're doing. Not that it may not necessarily be the case,
less,
but
micromanagement.
Yeah. So really, that's empowering those under you to get better. And that is in itself helping the coach.
Yeah, I like that.
I don't know.
Yeah. Next one from Don Young. Is it just me or J-Lo's eyes seem a little off? On certain angles, it looks like someone has just stuck crafty goggly eyes on him. Meanwhile, Henry, future captain?
First of all, let me address the Henry for future captain before I get to the other one. I thought about this. He could quite possibly be a future captain of the Fremantle football team post Alex Pearce.
I was going to say, I think Pearce, then Brayshaw, and then I think it's just Brayshaw's only 2 years older than him, you know. So I think Andy Brayshaw has captain of Dockers and Alex Pearce. They both have captain of Dockers written all over him after Fife. But Fife could be like Pav and be captain until he's like 35.
Yeah.
You know, and
but
then...
You know what I like, though, is that there are actually more players now where you can go, he could be captain, he could be captain, he can get... So that, I think, is good for the club because then you have your natural leaders by example, which is good. J-Lo's
eyes?
Look,
I feel like he's got a wanderer, or he's a little bit bung-eyed. He's like, every now and again, you just see one of his eyes just start.
Is that a farming trait?
The drifting eye? No, but shout out to my mate Glenn Verbrugen, who became a dad since we've last pod.
Is that something?
Has got, when he gets drunk, his eye starts to wander.
Oh boy!
And you know he's had a couple because his one eye just starts to go on its own, goes off on its own accord.
Is this something we ask when we interview?
Yeah, maybe.
Good boy. Considering we didn't get close to Ross.
Well, who knows? We probably would have had a sniff.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Yep. Melt. Connor Doyle, shout out CD. Now, good man, Connor Doyle. Question comes up in a West Australian context of best available versus local talent. Given Robertson has slid very hard so far, was it the right choice to choose best available with the possibility of Sarong doing his 4 years and going back to Victoria, or picking up local talent who may not be as good, still very good, and having the security of him not wanting to leave? Loved Hayden Young being chosen irregardless of where he lives, and Liam Henry will be the best small forward in the comp. Sarong is my question mark.
I go back to my thought of so wrong versus so right or so wrong. Which one will it be? Look,
you may be right. Was that the new theme song? So wrong.
I mean,
right.
I look over at the mob across the road, mate. That just down the road from where we are now.
Yeah, correct.
And I think about their meeting they had a couple of years ago where they said we need to target WA talent. Now, this is the thing, Oz, that I see is that, okay, if let's say Sarong is let's say he's a 90 out of 100, and let's say Robertson is 80 out of 100, okay?
Yes.
Let's just say they're the rankings that they give him, hypothetically.
Yes.
Is that 10 points difference, and that Robertson got pick draft part 22, Sarong pick 8, so what's that? 14 picks the difference. Are those 14 draft pick gap, is that enough to make up for the fact that Robertson, and we've seen Bradley Hill go, but that was a very unique situation. Is that enough to say, hey, look, he will always going to stay here. Like, he isn't going to leave. If you pick WA talent, the go-home factor is 0 because they're already home. If you pick
unless you're Brad
Victorian
Hill.
talent...
shots fired!
Yeah, well, that was just a weird situation. Look, I mean, they are country Victorians, yes. You know, we've got to think, would Robertson been a good pick? But everyone has over draft. I know that Dion Travascus has asked a question whether or not we move up to get Robertson. Obviously, we didn't. But I really think this could have been a situation this year where if Robertson was still on the board, we could have traded our first-round pick to someone like, I think, Adelaide or North Melbourne had pick 24, 25 and 39. We look at Sharp, Elijah Taylor, Rivers, Robertson, 3 guys straight there who would have been, I think, really solid players. And, the thing is to accumulate picks sometimes. Sometimes you just need more shots at it, and that's the key.
Oh, this is true.
All right, next question, mate, is from Sean Warren. Shout out to you.
Hey, Warnie, how you go?
Do you boys think Valenti and Sturt will get on the park early in 2020?
Well, look, I hope so. And if you're probably out there, if you're listening and all of a sudden you realise, hang on a second, there was a screaming baby and now the baby's not screaming, that would be my 2-year-old now sitting on my lap. So
Special guest.
Do you want to say hi, Eleanor? Say hi?
No,
Okay,
say
she's
hello. She's waving at me.
She's waving
Hello,
at duck.
Eleanor.
There you go. Okay, good. So going back to Warnie's question, look, I think Sturt plays. He was injury hit. I think he's bulked up a little bit.
Concussion, Sturt.
Yes. Yeah, he's had a few of those, hasn't he? Is it 2?
He had 2 concussions.
2 concussions.
The second one, they had him out for 4 weeks. But
yes.
How's in the paper, Venables? It's been out for like 6 months with a concussion.
Yeah.
He's still having the effects.
Yeah.
I think Vardy ran into him pretty rowdy.
Oh, boy.
Sturt, they had pictures of Sturt on Instagram the other day. He looked big in the gym.
Okay.
And I think he's
Okay.
he hasn't played any cricket this summer.
Okay.
Like Sarong, another cricket player. That was pretty funny. He sent me another good cricket player. We've got like the 11.
Shout out to Footy. He goes, I hope we pick up an esports player.
Yeah.
Something different.
Well, Ubergang was esports, wasn't he?
Is it me?
Valenti.
Oh, yeah.
Sore groins.
Yeah, he had was it osteo? They don't call it osteo. Do they still call it osteitis pubis now, or do they just
They said they had to re-teach him how to run because his groins. Weird.
Well
I
hung.
know.
Okay. John French Hines. Oh, yes, and I do think that Valenti plays this year. John French Hines. Is there any chance Ben Sokol slips to our next pick?
Well, mate, it's very interesting. I was talking to my boss at work, the big boss, the Don, as we like to call him, and his son was friends with Sokol at school.
Oh.
Said he was one of the all-time great kids.
Oh, boy.
Do all his homework, always like super intelligent,
Ticks our
really
boxes.
diligent, very well organised, did all the right things. Really, really great kid.
Yeah.
And, let's think about this. Good goal kicker, probably be nearly our best medium-sized forward if he comes to the Dockers.
If he comes.
Automatically becomes the number 1 medium-sized forward if you think about the likes of Mundy, Matera, maybe Switkowski, Darcy Tucker, those types of players.
Yeah.
In terms of goal kickers, mate, he becomes the number 1.
Oh, boy. Well, look, what I like about, again, that potential is a West Australian player that is less likely to go home after 4 years.
Yeah.
You know his character, which was probably one of the major pluses of... love, here, come up here. One of the major pluses of Robertson.
Yeah.
Let's pick him because we know what we're going to get. He's a good bloke, all that sort of stuff. Yeah, mate, I tell you what.
All right, next one, Lee McDonald. In hindsight, did we stuff up the Hill trade? I think it's realistic that we could have gotten pick 6 and Akers if we hadn't been so insistent on 2 first-rounders in the initial negotiation. When we then wouldn't have needed to spend a second-round pick that we got from Melbourne for Langdon in order to move from 10 to 8. That Melbourne second-rounder could have been used to cover the points lost... the points used to cover the lot of Henry points. Sorry, points for Henry. We'd still have our own future first rounder. We'd still have our own future first rounder, which we gave to the Power. That's second rounder, so that's a mistake. And we could now be trying to include that in the deal to get Robertson now that he's slid. I know it's a lot, but a lot of ifs, buts, and maybes. But I feel like it factored in when grading our trade and draft period. I think unfortunately, Lee, there's a couple of little minor mistakes in here. We traded our second rounder. We still have Melbourne's second rounder in our trades. We traded our very own second rounder, I'm pretty sure, to Port Adelaide. We've still got our first rounder for next year. We have a second rounder. We don't have any other picks after that.
Yep.
So we've still got 1 and 2, which is okay. And if we hadn't used that on Henry, we would have slid back in the first round because we would have lost points.
Yep.
And that's worse. Like if we finish, say we finish 10th, so we get pick 8 in the draft. If we slide back to pick 9 or pick 10, you never know. All those points matter. It's such a complicated system.
It is now. It is certainly going towards the Kevin Costner type theory.
The Hill trade in the end, a first rounder plus Akers, I think, it would have been nice to see us. I know we've got to be seen to be respecting the player, but 2 more years under contract, and I would.
Is it clearly? Am I the only person who clearly sees what this is in terms of players and contracts? So players heavily front end their contracts and get signing bonuses, as do player managers. And so every time a new contract signed, it's a heavily front-ended contract with more signing bonuses.
That's solid.
And
I would say the only thing is with the Hill contract is that it's actually a really bad contract. But
is a contract...
when he came from... people have got to understand. When Hill came from Hawthorn, he wasn't a gun player, was he? He was just a...
I reckon he was.
When he was at Hawthorn, he was just a solid player. He came to the Dockers and he lifted his game to the next level. He went from essentially you wouldn't even consider Hill an All-Australian to last year, he should have been All-Australian, realistically. And he's probably the premium wingman in the competition.
Yeah.
Okay, but before that at Hawthorn, he wasn't that great. So he was on a 5-year deal, about $300,000 a year.
Yep.
So his contract wasn't that great. That was one of the problems.
Yeah.
The other problem is that, obviously he changes manager. The new manager, Colin Young's like, man, you're on a bad contract. So you should, whether or not, I know he left because his missus wanted to leave as well, which is fair dugs. I mean, as a man, happy wife, happy life, isn't it?
Solid to St Kilda for helping out with some employment, apparently.
But also, I mean, the other thing is, Oz, as well, it's like... We could have been similar to Danaher, where we just held strong. Essendon just held strong. You don't give us what we want. We'll hold the player. He's got 2 years left on his contract. It wouldn't be as if Brad Hill wouldn't come back and play for the Dockers. It wouldn't be as if he'd be like, no, I'm not playing. I think he still would have played.
After his Doig medal speech, though, that would have been quite interesting.
Yeah. But, I mean, that's the thing is it doesn't really matter, does it?
Yeah.
So, I don't know, mate. In the end, we got Akers. We've got Akers and pick 8, let's say.
Yep.
Sarong. Would you have preferred Bradley Hill over those two?
Well, he's a proven player.
Yeah, that's the thing that I say.
There's no disrespect to the new guys because I think they're going to be fantastic, but you get a proven player.
Mate, you're up with Gordon...
yes.
Jordan Grillisich.
Jordan Grillisich. Yeah, how much ill will do you think bidding creates? Should we have bid on Green with either of picks 7 or 8? It would have helped with our points deficit for Henry bid as our later picks come in after GWS pay for him.
I like this idea, mate.
Yeah, so do I.
Because it would have meant Henry would have been picked 10. So it's less points.
Yes.
And the points significantly get less and less, the gap between the points. So, yeah, there's a little bit of ducks and drakes to be played, I think, with this point system.
Yeah.
And I think Carlton played it well. The fact that they were buying time as well probably didn't help us.
Yeah.
It would have been nicer if the Henry pick was pick 20. It's a lot less points.
Just wondering if they were just going to basically, before they ran out of time, just try and go through every single...
academy player.
Well, this one. How about this one?
Point. Darren Travascus, this one's for you, mate. And we do we need to try to trade up to get Robertson? Obviously, I know we don't have many points left. It's worth trading our future pick 3 or next year's pick for this year's draft to try and get him. What do you reckon, mate?
Well, we missed out on him.
Yeah.
So that answer would have... look, I like character players.
Yeah.
And good character players, you know what you're going to get week in, week out. You're going to get effort. And that, I think AFL now, more so than probably what it has been in the past, is all about consistency. Now, do you consistently want someone who is going to perform at their peak? And that peak may not necessarily, like you said, may not necessarily be, the 4 or 5 picks above or whatever, but you're going to get that consistency. And they're West Australian, and they're not going to go home. So, they are home, sorry. They're not going to go back wherever. I think it would have been great to see us probably take a WA player, where possible, but Young looks very good. And what I like about the Dockers' strategy in this part is taking his best mate to try and keep him here.
Yeah.
I think once we went with someone from Victoria, I think the next logical situation to prevent the go-home factor for Freo was to pick up another awesome inside player in this case, and someone who's hopefully going to help sign on.
Yeah. I think it could have been an idea, Oz, and this one might have been smart. And just looking in hindsight now that all the picks have gone through, we're up to pick, I know we're into the 3rd round, but North Melbourne ended up with pick 35, 34 and 31. Could you, I know the points don't add up, but if you trade your first rounder for 31, 34, 35, and maybe a future second rounder as well.
Yeah.
So they get next year's first rounder and second rounder office. We've had at 32, Rivers went, so we could have taken him at 31. At 36, Elijah Taylor went. We could have taken him at 34 or 35. And then, you've got your pick of anyone else, of who's there. Oh, you are seriously freaking out, mate.
Yeah.
Anyway, next question is from you, mate. Uh-oh, dogs are barking.
Okay, just shut the door.
All right, here we go. This is great.
God.
I tell you what, guys, you need to get in this picture right now. You need to see this. We've got Oz's daughters in here. She's trying to open up the door. Doors are getting closed, are they? They're getting open, they're getting closed. See ya. Now she's going.
There you go.
She's been crying. She came in. Oz has managed to answer questions, pick her up, take some folders off her, watch her draw a picture, smile at me. I'm giving the thumbs up. Drop her down. Got some texters. Put the texters back. You've handled the texters, mate. This has been a masterclass in parenting, mate. If ever I've seen one. Masterclass. All right, turn over the page, mate.
Okay, here we go. Aaron Stock, is it me or you?
I think it's me.
Okay.
Hi, gents. My thoughts on replacing Brad Hill is using Nathan Wilson out on the wing. He's taller, but quicker, and has a penetrating, reliable kick. Thoughts on that?
I love the idea, but I'm not sure he has the same tank capacity as Brad Hill. I think maybe down the track. For me, the logical person to go to the wing is Griffin Logue. He's got that aerobic capacity to be able to go. If you look at the time trial, he was, 3rd? I think first was Bewley. Bewley, it's going to be interesting to see how we use Bewley. Yeah. Who was second actually in the time trial? Brayshaw. Oh, yeah, I like that. I like that.
He looks bigger as well.
Yeah.
Mate, I love this as well, but I think we need a lockdown defender and he can play that role. Hopefully, Stephen Hill slims down.
You keep forgetting that Stephen Hill was out for the year.
Yeah.
Hang on. Side note. If you, and I was thinking about this today, and I was very excited by this. If you look at every other club in the AFL right now, and you go, there has to be one club to make the biggest jump in a short period of time.
Yeah.
It has to be Fremantle. And the main reason for that is the focus on skills.
Oh, mate, if the skills go up.
Because if we weren't, and judging by what the players are saying, and players are very diplomatic, but it's coming out clearly that skills was not necessarily the priority. And that's fine. But if we look at what JLo's trying to do with our skills-based training, even if that only improves skills by 2%, if you think about how many times we missed a target
and it goes back over,
overhead, there has to be more upside in Fremantle than any other side that is currently already working on skills and have been. And we are the team that is only just starting to realise this. Surely the exponential growth is with the Fremantle Dockers.
Yeah.
Am I wrong there?
Yeah. You're not wrong. You are not wrong.
So
mate.
is it possible,
I'm
therefore,
super excited.
is it possible that we jump into the 8?
Oh, I thought you were going to say number 1. My honest opinion, Oz, is that we will regress this year, and then we'll get better.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, I think we'll regress because it's going to take a while to get used to J-Lo, and it's going to take a while to get used to not ultra defensive, not structure, high structure. That's going to take a while. Plus, we've also still got a very young team, very young list.
But that adds to my point. This is their 3rd year. Some of them their 3rd year.
Yeah, 3rd and 4th year.
And, actually, Brad Hill's going to be a big loss for us because of
and Langdon. The pace on the outside is going to be the
loss.
loss.
Langdon, as much as he was pacey and got a lot of the ball didn't tend to end up in the hands of Fremantle football players at the end of it. So, I think the additions of Aish and the addition of Akers and coming back Stephen Hill, potentially coming... Oh, well, let's hope that Lobb plays for longer.
Yeah.
Let's hope that Pearce
Yep.
is going to come back and let's hope Tabernar can play a season.
Yep.
But...
Hogan.
Yeah. Yep. Okay,
Lobb.
it's definitely me, mate. Sorry. Luke Smith. Did they make the right decision not getting Devon Robertson early?
Well, it seems like it because there wasn't much interest until pick 22. But, I mean, the proof will be in the pudding. This is a thing. It is player development. That's as important as drafting the right player is player development. And I would say our player development has been pretty good over the last couple of years. Could have been better, maybe not. We'll see how it goes. Reese Byford. Hi, fellas. Young looks like a great kick, which we desperately need. I was a bit worried about picking up 2 Victorian boys, but J-Lo's comments about it creating culture where they don't want to leave made me feel better. Also, Hogan's crashed his car and it ended up in hospital, and it doesn't make it to the Freo app. Are they hoping we don't watch the news and won't find out it happened?
I worked for the Eagles when they did it with their players, man. I won't go there. But look, if you're the Fremantle Football Club, do you really want to bring to the attention? I mean,
it's been brought up, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know about Hogan, man. I want to see a piece of positive news about Hogan. Just one piece. All right.
Is he the new whipping boy for the West Australian, given that Ross Lyon is no longer at the club?
Yeah, no Harley Bennell either.
And no Harley Bennell. I think he is.
Yeah, I mean,
which is not fair.
But let's get him in some... surely there's a big gap left by Chris Mayne leaving the club. Let's get Hogan in the Children's Hospital.
Starlight Foundation.
Kicking the footy. Starlight Foundation. Get him working with the kids because...
Sit him down with Nick Nat. Nick Nat, what does it take to have an article written about you every hour?
Well, he's kind of doing that, but the opposite way. He's like the yin to Nick Nat Chiang.
Yeah, true.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Wow.
For every positive article there is a big Nick Nat, there's a negative article about a Dockers player.
Do you know what my daughter does now? Every time we drive past now, because I did it once just as a joke with the boys, just yell out Nick Nat as you do, wound the window down.
Yep, classic.
Every time we drive past the stadium, she gets, Daddy, Nick Nat.
Nick Nat. All right. Josh Loveridge.
Yeah.
Chances of Freo doing more trades and picking up another player in the next 2 nights?
0.
Yep, doubt it. But I would love to see us be bold. That's what I wrote down before the draft started, second round. Last question as well. I'll just read this one.
Go.
This is from Jake Pizzuto. Where do you see the new recruits fitting in? Personally, I don't see Young getting a game early on as our defence is pretty solid. Sarong should be able to play round 1, in my opinion. Henry could also as well. Also, do you think Sturt and Valenti could get some early games?
Yeah, so look, I don't think Young plays. I don't think Young plays this season purely because that he is he's underdeveloped, physically. That is,
there's a bit.
In his position. In his position,
you never know, but do you?
No,
188 centimeters, 82
such a good kick though. Maybe his kicking is that revolutionary that
for the Dockers.
That maybe Jayla goes, holy crap, we got to get this guy in somewhere.
Now, Oz, this is what I was thinking. Okay, best 22 at the moment, and this isn't best 22. This is just if everyone's fit.
I love the fact that you've just done this. Go.
This team: Ryan Hamling, Logue, Wilson, Pearce, Aish, backline. Stephen Hill, Walters, Chera. Mundy, Lobb, Matera, Tabs, Hogan, Switter, forward line. Darcy, Fife, Brayshaw. Then on the bench, I've got the likes of Blakely, Dooman, Conker, Akers, Tucker, Sturt, and Cox. That's without including Henry, Sarong, or Young. I mean, that side is pretty damn solid. I think that, if you look at someone like a Henry or a Sarong could take Switkowski's spot, but I thought he was pretty good. He just needs to kick some goals.
Where does Carter go?
Yeah, exactly. That's the other thing. You're looking at guys like Carter. You're looking at guys like what's the big curly-headed bastard? What's his name? Meek. Continuing to develop.
Yep.
I haven't got Valenti in that team.
Yep.
I haven't got Tom North. I haven't got Huge Dicks.
Yep.
There's a lot of guys in there that even if you look at that, Trav Collier potentially if he can increase his skills a bit. If all these guys, but the thing's going to be there will be injuries. Hogan won't play for a while.
Yep.
Tabs may not. Who knows what's going to happen with Tabs? Who knows? They're talking about him doing less running or whatever. But look, realistically, if you look at that, could Young fit in? Yeah, I definitely think he could. Could Sarong fit in? He definitely could. Could Henry? Could all three of these guys be playing round one? You know what? The other thing is why not? Why not, mate?
Yeah.
What? Okay. Is Switkowski playing the best he can? I've even got Burley on that list. Crowden or Gyro or any guys like that.
Here's another side note to you, Duck. If Switkowski is boarding, I'm going to say boarding because Mark Lacroix is opening up his house to Switkowski, who should be shadowing this guy like a dirty smell. Whatever Lecker does, you do within reason. It is really important to make sure that whatever Lecker can do on his foot is what Switty can do by foot.
And the thing with Switkowski is he's one knock on him, and this is a pretty big knock as a forward. He doesn't kick no goals, mate. He does not kick a goddamn goal. Anyway, Oz, on that note, let's wrap it up. It's been a masterclass by you looking after kids and dodging in and out, mate. Guys, thank you very much for listening. Remember, subscribe, rate, and review. We'll be back in the next couple of months. Oz, you go to the USA soon, then we've got Christmas. Then I go to Hong Kong and Korea. Hopefully we'll be having some discussions with the Dockers after that. We've already talked to Wardy and
exciting times.
Everyone down at the Dockers, and potentially with the Purple Patch in particular, guys, we could have more player interviews coming your way, which is what we set out to do with this podcast, or with the Patch in particular. So look, we're looking forward to a really big 2020 future of cricket. We've got heaps of games coming up. We've got really big preseason coming up, and I'm super excited, man. I'm really pumped. I'm really, really pumped. So get on the Dockers train, guys, because we've picked up 3 pretty exciting pieces of talent. Now, we did have the opportunity, I feel, to go and have one of our best drafts of all time, but we didn't, and that's okay because you can't sell the farm as well. I just wish I would have loved to seen us trade a first rounder for 3 second rounders. That potentially could have happened. With North Melbourne, that could have happened. And then you're looking at guys, Trent Rivers, Elijah Taylor, we could have picked these guys up. And it is a little bit disappointing when you see these players that could have been Dockers guys, WA guys in particular. But, I mean, we've got three guys who could really be part of our next premiership push.
Yeah, I'm hoping
that's
so,
the
mate.
Thing.
That's
another
what I'm
really great
about.
Small forward, a great halfback flanker, and a good inside mid, Who knows? These 3 guys could be a part with, if you think of Brayshaw, Chera, Akers, Aish, Fife, Young Hodor, Lobb, Hogan, Hamling and Pearce. That's the making of a really great team. I think we just need a bit more explosive outside speed. Another good forward, like Sokol would be a really good pickup, I think. I'd love to see us get him at 67. I think we need another good lockdown defender, but as well, small defender would be a treat, which I think we've been missing for a long time. But who knows? Who knows what we're going to pick, mate? It could be anything. The late round picks are always a treat. We'll probably get some mature age dude who's like a jip rocker from, Frankston or something like that. Like, yeah, man, buddy, kicked 7 goals in the game. Yeah, bloody good. Like, oh, just what? When did you find out you got traded? Yeah, mate, just on the bloody side, have a couple of beers, mate. Yeah, just put down the tools and away we go. Anyway, all right. On that note, guys, thank you very much. We will be back in the new year. Have a great new year and a great Christmas time, guys. Everyone be safe out there. Be safe on the roads. If anyone's going past sunny Tambler, why not take the detour, go through, have a look at the Big Willie. There's about 5 Big Willies in Tamlop, so...
Love it.
All right, guys. See ya.
See you later.
You got anything to say?
No,
all
love
right,
you all.
guys.
Bye.